Good morning, guys. MWUSA Season 5, Episode 167. Today is Monday, and today is the day we go to work. So, I got to go over a few things with you. Here's some changes to our schedule. Today's, like I said, Monday, and it's going to be a normal Monday. Go to the office, go to the casino, back to the office, back to the casino. Hopefully we can make $500 or $600 would be incredible. Normally we're averaging about $300 for that day. But then tomorrow, Tuesday, we were supposed to be going out of town about 4 hours or so each direction. And there's a change of plans. And actually, I had been going back and forth about going to Vegas on Tuesday or Wednesday, and we're going to be going on Tuesday. So that will be tomorrow. So tomorrow early morning, we'll be leaving home, and we'll get to Vegas in the morning. So that's one change. And I didn't even have my car rental. I got that set up. I've been doing all these off the main strip, off the main car rental location lately. And some have been good, some have been bad. I think that Euro car was good last time. Sixt was good. I think that's on the main area. Easy Rent was kind of a pain because it took forever to get through the line. But this time I went ahead with just one of the main ones. It's a little bit more, but I just wanted to get in and out. I didn't want to wait too long, and hopefully they don't disappoint me because I'll be there early in the morning, and hopefully there's no line and everything is good. So we'll be in Vegas tomorrow through Saturday, and I'm going to be making a list of all the casinos I'm going to go to. I'm going to have a random number generator pick a number for each of them, and we're going to refer to them by number, and then we're good. I think we're going to be good. It's going to be a lot different. I think back to the days when I would go there, and I would go to the Wynn, and I would walk down one side of the strip and back the other side of the strip. I'd go to the Venetian Palazzo, cross over to the Mirage, do that whole side, and then come back from Planet Hollywood and all the way back. And I missed those days. It was a lot of steps. It was a lot of work. But we played blackjack at all those locations, and we played slots at all those locations. And it was hard work, but it was worth it. And things have changed lately. And they're going to be different from now on. But we're going to get into a different groove, and we're going to make money a little bit in a different way. So, and one thing that I think could be a benefit once I get into a good structure for this is it'll be less hours of walking and searching and more hours of playing and more hours of rest. So, I mean, we're all human beings. I really need more than an hour or two of sleep a night. I'll feel a lot better and hopefully make more money. So the key, though, is finding the good games and not wasting time traveling from place to place for $8 and $12. So yeah, that's what's going on. Right now it's 74 degrees. We're heading to the office. Clear skies, just a few clouds off in the distance, and it should be a good day today. I'll get all packed and ready to go tonight, and then off to the airport in the morning. So that's what's going on right now, and I'll be back to update you soon. Alright guys, I am back. It's 10:30, just leaving the office, and we're heading to the casino. I'm going to do some online stuff also on the way. Actually, things kind of cooled off over the weekend with the online stuff. I did finally make a loss, and we're going to see what we can do about recovering that. That was about $400, and hopefully we can get that back in the next day or two. But overall, still doing very well, happy with the results, and just have to keep my concentration and maybe realize when I'm tired. And sometimes I'll be sitting in my chair getting ready for bed or whatever, just a few minutes away from going to sleep, and I'll decide to open up a table and play some Pot Limit Omaha. And although I do well, sometimes I need to kind of measure my level of fatigue, I guess, and make sure that I don't play tired. I'm not saying that's what happened, but whenever I make any kind of loss, I try to reevaluate what happened or evaluate what happened, and try to come up with reasons why it happened, and maybe learn from it and make things better for next time. That doesn't mean that there was something that happened. It's just I want to analyze it and make sure that nothing is happening. And since I do have a lot of drive time, um, it gives me the ability to do that, to think about it, to replay things in my mind as they happened, and think about if I made a mistake or not. So anyway, all right, we're going to head to the casino, and I'll be back to update you soon. All right, guys, I am back, and man, it was not great in there. It was dead in there, no customers. I was talking to one of the workers, and they were telling me how this promotion they're doing is awful. Nobody likes it. They go through so much of the printer paper, and nobody likes it. Nobody's getting anything past $5 in prizes. So I told them right away, this is a bad idea. You're making people do 20 things to get $5 or $10. Nobody's going to want to do it, and that's what's happening now. And you have to keep track of all these papers. Also, why would I want to have 20 papers in my hand? Why couldn't I just do something on the screen and have it automatically credit it? Maybe have like a little road and put a check mark when you do something? I don't get it. But I ended up playing 5 or 6 things. I was a little loose on one of them because I'm still learning the game. Ended up working out. I think I made just a couple dollars on it, but I understand the game a little bit better. I know the entry point, but I just didn't know the frequency that it would hit. And then talked to the waitress, and she was like, "Yeah, I don't really care about this place anymore." And I didn't even get my free food because I'm really not even interested in being there. Usually I get my free food, and that frees up some stuff on the machines. I go back and I hit them again and make some money, but there wasn't much to be made at all. We still made $86, so that's good. And right now we're going to go grab a bite to eat somewhere. I'm not really sure where, and I'll come back to update you soon. All right, guys, I am back, and we are heading to the casino again. It's 3:30 now. All the meetings are done. Everything is good. Everything came out great. Tomorrow, tomorrow I'm off the first half of the day, which I'll be traveling to Vegas at that time. And then I will be working the second half of the day, and should not really have anything to really worry about. I will be able to work on the plane, so I really didn't need to take the time off. No one would have known if I had taken the time off or not. However, I wanted to take the time off on purpose because I didn't want to have to swipe my card at the door on Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. So tomorrow there is no meetings going on. Wednesday, no meetings going on. Thursday, there's a bunch of meetings, but I can handle that. Friday, just a team meeting. So we're going to be good for our trip. Should be landing before noon in Vegas tomorrow, and kind of have some things planned out. I'll work on it some more tonight. I want to get to bed real early tonight because I'm going to be leaving very early, and I'm going to have a lot of travel time and all kinds of stuff going on tomorrow. So, and starting tomorrow, no sleep for whatever 5 days, so, or very limited sleep. Actually, when I get home, I'm going to work on a schedule and try to incorporate at least 4 hours of sleep in every day, no matter what. If we give up money, we give up money. You saw what happened last time. We were doing fine, making money here and there, and then we had one big loss and gave everything back. And you know, what's the point? Let's do whatever we can, make sure we take care of our body, and at least get 4 hours sleep, and then whatever money we make, we make. And I'm being a little cryptic, but I'm just trying to think here. There's so many different things going on, new things that I want to do while I'm in Vegas. I'm trying to figure out how to do that. I'll worry about that later on, I guess. Today on the countdown, we're going to be doing the 7th through the 10th Amendments of the Constitution. So be looking for that here coming up. Right now we're heading back to the casino, and I'll be back to update you soon. All right, let's go, baby. We got it. That was nice, actually. It was one of those rare situations where you find absolutely nothing, and then you kind of back into something, and it works out. So basically walked around the whole place and found nothing. And as I was leaving, I found a small play and played that, lost $160 on that one. And then I was pretty upset, walking around looking for anything else just to try to get most of it back or some of it back or whatever. And ended up finding a play, $10 a spin. Played that one through, and I went from being down 150 to being involved for $2,000, and actually ended up hitting 500, 600, and 1600, pretty close to each other, and ended up leaving ahead for the session, which is insane. Plus $636, plus $636, and we were in pretty bad shape there for a minute. I was down to like $100 and something left in the machine at one point, and came all the way back, battled back, and it all worked out. So, don't be upset if it worked out. It was a bad looking play as it was going. It looked like it was going to pay nothing. In fact, I calculated at one point I was in for $1,000 and it was paying back about 5%. 5%. That's pretty brutal. You're over 100 spins in and you're only getting 5% back, but whew, it did work out. So plus $636, and right now we're going to head toward home. We're going to start packing since we got to leave in, 12 hours or whatever, and then figure out what we're going to do and get on the plane. So right now, let's do our 1776 segment next, and then we'll do some other stuff. This is a 1776 countdown where I count down the top 1,776 reasons why I love America. I believe that this is episode 8. I'm pretty sure this is episode 8. Doesn't matter either way. And we're going to be talking about some amendments. We're going to be wrapping up the top 10 today. We'll be talking about the 7th Amendment first. And these are very minor compared to the other ones that we've gone through, but they're still extremely important, so pay attention to them. So the 7th Amendment guarantees the right to a jury trial in a civil case. So back in 1791, anything over $20, you could ask for a jury trial if it's a civil, not a criminal case. And they never changed the number. They didn't attach it to inflation because, frankly, there was no inflation back then. Everything was linked to gold and silver, and there was no inflation, so they didn't have to link it to that. But anything over $20, you could ask for a jury case. And one good thing about it is it limited what the judge could do. It made it so that if a jury decides something, the judge has very limited ability to substitute their own judgment for the jury's judgment, because after all, it's supposed to be a jury of your peers, and that's supposed to be better than just one person judging you. So applies only to civil cases, like I said, not criminal cases. And they believed back then, as they should now, that ordinary citizens, not government officials, should have a voice in resolving your legal disputes. Just like in the old days when you used to have like the elders help, they would help judge and all that kind of stuff. So that's that. So now we're going to move on to the 8th Amendment. 8th Amendment, very important in today's world. It prohibits excessive bail. If you were shoplifting for $100, they can't make your bail $1 million, right? But if you did something huge and you're very wealthy, they need to make bail comparable to what you can afford and the crime that you did. It also prohibits excessive fines, very important, and it bans cruel and unusual punishments. obviously. You understand all that. We've talked about some of that stuff before. And it protects convicted criminals or prisoners from inhumane treatment. So, you've seen all the things on cable or whatever it's called now, streaming, about all these other countries, South America and Asia, and the terrible conditions in their prisons where they just let you in. The prisoners handle everything, or it's not clean, it's overcrowded, all that kind of stuff. That's inhumane treatment, and that's prohibited. And it influences the death penalty cases as well. You can't be subject to the death penalty, if you stole a gallon of milk, for example. It has to be proportionate to the crime. So that's the 8th Amendment. Moving on, we'll go to the 9th Amendment. And the 9th Amendment is kind of interesting. It basically says that there are rights that Americans have that may not be in the Constitution. They're called unenumerated. That means not listed, not enumerated, not listed one by one. Just because they're not listed one by one doesn't mean that you don't have that right. And that's a big one, thanks to James Madison. Again, these are names. You hear George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, but you don't think about some of the people who made some tremendous efforts in giving us the protections that we need. So, and then it helps preserve individual liberty. So it enforces that people possess inherent rights that exist independently of the government, which means you have certain rights that just because the government didn't give you that rights doesn't mean that you don't have that right. So, of course, the founders believe in natural rights. What's natural rights? That means that God-given rights is what natural rights are. You have certain rights that the government has no business taking away from you, and that freedom is broader than just any kind of written text. So that's the 9th Amendment. And then we'll go one more, and we'll wrap up the Bill of Rights, and that would be the 10th Amendment, which says that any powers that the federal government doesn't have, as long as they're legal, are given to the states. So states and local governments handle anything that the federal government doesn't. And obviously originally we wanted the federal government basically to protect us, and that's about it, and everything else was supposed to be with the states. But obviously things do change, and slowly the federal government put its nose in more and more stuff. It collected taxes, then it started giving tax money to states, and then it started saying, okay, if you don't do what we say, then we're not going to give you this money, and kept on taking more and more power. So the delegating stuff to the states and local governments is federalism. So that's what federalism is. You hear people saying, oh, do you believe in federalism? But what are you talking about? Yeah, I believe in small government and local government over a big government and a controlling government. So that's what I believe. That's what most people should believe, because that's the government that knows you. That's the government that's made up of your peers, and that will protect you the most. Because when you have a big faceless government, it's a little hard to protect everybody's rights. And the 10th Amendment gives states the authority to do all that stuff, and it protects local self-government. And so a lot of constitutional debates talk about, is this a state issue or a federal issue? Recently we had the Roe v. Wade thing overturned, and it went back to the states. And so for the most part, things didn't change, but in some cases there were some very major changes that happened, because it went back to the states the way it was before that ruling had happened. So it helps preserve the balance of power, the way that our forefathers and our founders envisioned. So the 10th Amendment matters a lot. So that's the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th Amendment. And starting tomorrow, which will be our 9th episode, we'll be moving on to all different things, and then we'll come back to more amendments later on. But I want to cover some other major things before we do that. All right, so that was the 7th through the 10th Amendment, and I like those a lot. And I like actually researching this stuff. I knew a lot of these things, but who knows the 9th Amendment? You know, I had to look it up and read about it and really try to get both sides of the situation on a lot of these things. And I'm trying to be as balanced as I can about it. But we could do some segments. What did you eat today, MW? I actually have something good to say about a fast food place. I went to a Wendy's, and not the usual one that I would go to because I was already on the road back to the office. And I just pulled up the nearest one and I went to it. These guys did such a good job. They had a coupon. If you spend $5 or more, you get a small chili for free. So I used that coupon, and I got a Dave's single. And these things have been disgusting lately. Terribly made, smashed, sloppy, nasty. The bread has been hard. All this crazy. I'm like, what is going on? Aren't you guys managing your stores properly? I went to a store where I pulled in to the drive-thru, and I was probably 10th or 12th in line. It was wrapped all the way around the building. I got through in under 5 minutes. And were they rushing? No. They were doing a great job. This guy handed me my bag, and when you see him, you think, oh gosh, this is going to be another bad meal. This guy was raggedly dressed, missing a bunch of teeth, hair messy. You know what I said to him? I said, you guys are doing a great job. Keep up the good work. That was really fast, and I appreciate it. And he was so happy to hear it. When I opened up my sandwich, it was like the picture on the side of the building. And it tasted so good. It reminded me of Wendy's in the 90s when people still cared. You know, it was so delicious. Just the right amount of sauces on there, stacked properly. It was warm. It was delicious. The chili was good too, but I can't say enough about it. I'm going to give that sandwich a rare Jack on a scale of 2 through ace. I can't believe it either that I would do that with Wendy's. And as far as the chili, I give that a 9, which is still pretty decent. It's above average. So I had some really good sandwiches. Of course, tipping. I did not tip anybody today. And what did you learn today, MW? Well, this morning I woke up at whatever, 6 something. And I'm looking at my phone, and this pop-up comes up, and it says, or it had already popped up by 6 something, saying it's time to check in for your flight. And I'm like, what? My flight's supposed to be Wednesday. It's supposed to be Tuesday. So I checked, and I did book the hotel for Tuesday through Saturday night. So that's all good. But then I went to look for the rental car, and I had never booked the rental car. And I remember saying, you know, they're really cheap. I'm just going to wait on there. I don't think it's going to go up. World Series is over. And cars were as cheap as like $130 for those 5 days. But I actually ended up spending a little bit more and going with, I believe, Budget or one of the bigger companies, because I just didn't want to get on 2 shuttles in Vegas where it's going to be 100 degrees and then wait in line and all that. I just wanted to get through and get out of there and just get on with my business and make some money. So ended up doing that. So what I learned was that my trip was actually scheduled for Tuesday, not for Wednesday. And my wife said, yeah, I remember you telling me that a while back. And in my mind, I knew it was the 14th, but I thought the 14th was a Wednesday. So yeah, so that's what's happening, man. I'm going to head home right now. It's a nice, breezy 91 degrees outside. Partly cloudy skies, nice day. And we're going to go home and spend some time with the family and get out tomorrow early in the morning and head to Vegas. So for now, I'm going to let you go. If you have any questions or comments, my email is mwusa21@gmail.com, mwusa21@gmail.com. See you next time.